For one weekend, a college campus turned into the internet's biggest creator lottery. Cameras everywhere, streamers in every room, unknown creators standing next to people with millions of followers. And behind all of it, one promise. Maybe this is your shot. That was the power of Streamer University, a free creator boot camp, a real campus. Over 1 million people applying for only 120 spots. And in 2025, it worked. The event generated 27 million hours watched on Twitch. Clips spread everywhere. People discovered creators they had never heard of before. For a moment, it felt like Kai Cenat had built something the internet had been waiting for. An open door into the creator economy. But that door created a problem. Because the same chaos that made Streamer University feel alive also made it almost impossible to control. Kai needs the event to be 3 things at the same time: fair, safe, and raw enough to go viral. But fairness needs rules. Safety needs limits. Virality needs chaos. And those 3 things do not fit together easily. The harder Kai tries to fix one side, the more pressure he puts on the others. This is not just bad planning. It is not just messy execution. It is a flaw in the system itself. Streamer University succeeded because it felt like a glitch. For one weekend, it looked like the wall came down. Regular creators could enter the same space as massive streamers and maybe leave with a career. But now, to survive, Streamer University has to rebuild that wall. And that choice has already started to backfire. To understand why, you have to look at what made the first Streamer University work in the first place. Kai Cenat rented out a college campus at the University of Akron and invited 120 creators to live there for a weekend. The idea was simple. Bring creators together. Let them collaborate. Let them stream everything in real time. No polished format. No traditional school structure. No perfect script. Just creators, cameras, and chaos. And that chaos is exactly why it worked. The event felt alive because anything could happen. Someone unknown could suddenly become the funniest person in the room. A random interaction could become a viral clip. A creator with no major platform could get placed in front of millions of people overnight. That was the dream. For viewers, it was entertainment. For creators, it looked like opportunity. And for Kai, it was proof that he could build something bigger than a stream. He could build a cultural event. But success created a problem almost immediately. Because once Streamer University became valuable, everyone wanted access to it. And once everyone wanted access to it, every decision started to feel personal. People began questioning the selection process. Some of the chosen students already seemed connected, already known, or already close to the creator world. That created a contradiction. The event was marketed as a chance for new creators. But to a lot of people watching, it looked like the door was still only opening for people who were already near the door. And that feeling matters. Because when over 1 million people apply and only 120 get selected, rejection is not just disappointment anymore. It becomes proof, at least emotionally, that the system was never meant for you. For Kai, this was an event. For Twitch, it was watch time. For the audience, it was entertainment. But for the person recording an application in their bedroom, practicing a pitch, and hoping this could be the thing that changes their life, it felt much bigger than that. It felt like a way in. And when people feel like there is only one way in, they do not just apply, they chase it. That is where the safety problem started. When Kai held auditions for 2026 in Atlanta, thousands of people showed up. Streets closed. Federal agents arrived. Several arrests were made. The venue shut the event down. That moment exposed the paradox at the center of Streamer University. The more open it feels, the more uncontrollable it becomes. The more controlled it becomes, the less open it feels. That is the trap. Streamer University became exciting because it felt accessible. But accessibility at Kai Cenat's scale does not stay simple for long. When something feels open to everyone, everyone might actually show up. And when everyone shows up, the thing that felt inspiring can become dangerous very quickly. Then came the criticism around the format itself. Some questioned whether Streamer University was really education, or whether it was mainly a giant content machine wrapped in the language of opportunity. Some criticized who was allowed in. Some criticized who was banned. Some criticized who got positioned as a professor. And all of that created a deeper question. Was Streamer University teaching creators? Or was it turning the dream of becoming a creator into entertainment? Because Kai did not just create a school, he created a stage. And when the opportunity itself becomes content, every applicant becomes part of the show, whether they get accepted or rejected. So for 2026, Kai tried to fix the problems. And on paper, his fixes make sense. His answer was control, make auditions visible, add more roles, reject people publicly, add ID checks, security rules, age restrictions, dress codes, and structure. In other words, turn the chaos into a system. First, he shifted away from only digital applications and moved toward in-person auditions. Instead of sending a video into a massive pile and hoping someone notices you, applicants could show up, pitch themselves, and get seen face-to-face. The logic is obvious. If people thought 2025 was rigged, make the process visible. Let people watch the audition. Let them see the rejection. Let them see Kai make the decision in real time. Second, he expanded the roles. You did not only have to apply as a student anymore. You could try to become a professor, a club director, or fill another role inside the event. More categories meant more entry points. More entry points meant more people could feel like they had a chance. Third, Kai made rejection brutally transparent. People close to him were rejected publicly. Friends were denied on camera. Applicants were judged live. Close associate Des got rejected in front of thousands watching. Kai told him, "I know you for some years now. I don't give a..." and stamped his application. Denied. Nina Lin was rejected for misspelling Chinese. Ray was called a snitch, jumped across the table, and was carried out by security. Adrian Broner attempted a bribe. Rejected. The message was clear. Access was not automatic. Not even for friends. Not even for known names. Not even for people already connected to Kai's world. In theory, that makes the process feel more honest. But it creates a darker problem. Because now, rejection is not private. Rejection is content. And that changes everything. If someone gets rejected quietly, they might be disappointed. But if someone stands in front of a camera, pitches their dream, gets rejected live, and then gets clipped for thousands of people to react to, that is not just a selection process anymore. That is public judgment. That is humiliation potential. That is entertainment built out of someone else's hope. And this is where Streamer University starts becoming uncomfortable. Because the event is supposed to be about giving people a chance, but the audition process can turn the act of asking for a chance into a viral moment by itself. That does not mean Kai is evil. It does not mean the event should not exist. But it does mean there is a tension he cannot ignore. The more transparent the process becomes, the more watchable rejection becomes. And the more watchable rejection becomes, the more the opportunity starts looking like part of the content machine. Then came the professional rules, ID checks, clear bag policies, age restrictions, dress codes, more security, more structure, more control. Again, all of this makes sense. After Atlanta, Kai had to professionalize the event. He had to protect the people showing up. He had to protect the venue. He had to make sure Streamer University did not collapse under its own demand. But every control measure that makes Streamer University safer also makes it less like the thing people fell in love with. In-person auditions are more transparent, but they are also more formal. Staggered time slots are safer, but they kill the crowd energy. Clear rejection criteria make the process easier to defend, but they remove some of the mystery. ID checks and capacity limits prevent chaos, but they also remove the feeling that anything can happen. And that feeling, the feeling that anything can happen, was the magic. Kai is now stuck making the trade that every viral movement eventually has to make. Stay chaotic, and risk collapse, or become controlled and risk losing the magic. And the most important part is this: Kai may be making the right choice. Safety matters. Fairness matters. Structure matters. But the cost is real, because Streamer University was never valuable only because of the campus. It was valuable because it felt like a glitch in the system. For one weekend, it looked like regular creators could walk into the same space as massive streamers and maybe change their lives. But now, the wall is coming back. Not because Kai wants to gatekeep, but because the demand is too big. And that brings us to the real problem: selection. What actually makes someone worthy of Streamer University? Kai says it is passion, creativity, personality, and potential. But those things are hard to measure. One person might be rejected because their pitch was weak. Another might be rejected because they made a mistake on the application. Another might be rejected because Kai did not trust their energy. Another might be rejected because they seemed like they were chasing clout instead of actually building something. And maybe those are valid reasons, but they are still subjective. They depend on a human read. They depend on timing. They depend on presentation. They depend on how someone performs in a few minutes under pressure. And that is a very difficult way to judge creator potential. Some creators are not good in auditions. Some are awkward in person, but brilliant on camera. Some need time to warm up. Some do not know how to sell themselves yet. Some people may have the exact talent the event is looking for, but they may never get seen in the right context. And when you are dealing with over 1 million applicants, that problem becomes impossible. Here's the math: 1 million applicants, 120 spots. That is a 0.012% acceptance rate. For comparison, Harvard accepts around 3%, Stanford accepts around 4%, MIT accepts around 3%. Streamer University, at that scale, is not just selective. It is statistically almost impossible. And that number changes the entire conversation, because at a 0.012% acceptance rate, it almost does not matter how fair the process is. Someone will always feel robbed. Someone will always say, "I could have made it if they had actually seen me." And the uncomfortable truth is, they might be right. There are probably people who applied who could have been amazing. People who would have gone viral. People who had the personality, the hunger, the timing, and the creativity. But when the demand is that large, no system can fully catch everyone. Kai cannot watch 1 million full applications. A team cannot perfectly judge 1 million dreams. An algorithm can sort, but it feels cold. Human judges can evaluate, but they are subjective. A lottery can be fair, but it destroys the idea of merit. That is the impossible choice. Use an algorithm, and people say the system is soulless. Use human judgment, and people say it is biased. Use a lottery, and people say talent no longer matters. Kai is trying to combine all three: digital screening, in-person auditions, face-to-face judgment. But even that creates a new problem, because the more visible the process becomes, the more painful rejection becomes. And the more people see the process, the more people believe they can be the exception. That is why the fairness problem cannot fully be solved. Not because Kai is doing nothing, but because the scale itself creates unfairness. When 1 million people are chasing 120 spots, the event cannot just be fair. It also has to feel fair to the 999,880 people who do not get in. And that is impossible. This is the deeper reason Streamer University is already under pressure. It is not just an event planning issue. It is not just a security issue. It is not just a Kai issue. It is a creator economy issue. The internet tells everyone they can become a creator. One clip can change everything. One stream, one collab, one moment, one person noticing you. And sometimes that is true. That is why the dream is so powerful. But the actual opportunities are still scarce. Not everyone gets access to big creators. Not everyone gets pushed by the algorithm. Not everyone gets the right room, the right moment, or the right cosign. So when Kai creates something that looks like a real doorway into that world, people flood toward it. Not because they are crazy, not because they are entitled, because the door feels rare. And when a rare door opens, everyone runs. That is what Streamer University reveals. The creator economy looks infinite from the outside, but access is still limited, attention is still limited, opportunity is still limited, and the people chasing it know that. That is why they apply. That is why they show up. That is why they get angry when rejected, because for a lot of them, this does not feel like missing out on an event. It feels like missing out on the one moment that could have changed their life. That is the emotional problem Kai is dealing with. He can make the event safer. He can make auditions more transparent. He can reject his friends live. He can add security, rules, and structure. But he cannot solve the deeper feeling that the creator economy is locked from the inside. And that means every fix creates another problem. If he makes selection more transparent, people see exactly how scarce the opportunity is. If he makes the event safer, it becomes less spontaneous. If he makes it more professional, it becomes less raw. If he opens auditions to more people show up than he can handle. If he limits access, people say the dream was never real. That is the cycle. More demand creates more risk. More risk creates more control. More control kills the chaos. Less chaos weakens the magic. And weaker magic makes the event less like the thing that made people care in the first place. So here is what Streamer University 2's biggest problem actually is. It is not bad planning. It is not unfair selection. It is not a logistics failure. It is that the event is trying to do something the creator economy has never figured out how to do. Make fame feel accessible. Make scarcity feel fair. And make chaos safe. Those three things do not fit together easily. Every choice Kai makes to fix one breaks another. The moment you make selection transparent, you make scarcity visible. And visible scarcity always attracts more demand than you can handle. The moment you reduce chaos for safety, you remove the spontaneity that made it viral in the first place. This is not just a Kai problem. This is a creator economy problem. We have built a system where opportunity is genuinely scarce, where access requires luck, connections, timing, or a cosign, and where the few moments someone says, "I will give you a real shot," people line up around the block. Kai can make Streamer University safer. He can make it more organized. He can make it more transparent. He can make it more professional. But he cannot make it solve what people are really showing up for. The feeling that the door to the creator economy is sealed shut. And until that changes, every fix will only prove how valuable the opportunity actually is. Which means more people will show up next time. Which means bigger problems. Which means more control. Which means less content magic. Streamer University did not create the locked door in the creator economy. It just showed millions of people exactly where the door is and how few can actually fit through it.